Hello everybody, this is Frogman. Welcome back to Create Astral. Last time we did a little bit of goofing around getting us a bunch of shimmer production so that we could start doing a little bit of stuff. And in between episodes, obviously, I've been doing a little bit of stuff. We have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of shimmer at this point in time. I suppose we can take a look over here. We should have something like, well, this is filling up. I had to do a little bit of work with it, but we now have lots of shimmer. We now have access to a whole bunch of stuff. I have been very busy once again, but this is one of those kinds of things. It's very, very simple. You just, go to town doing a whole bunch of stuff. We had plenty of wool down there ready to go to make an awful lot of covered dense cable or covered cables. And I went ahead and did just a whole bunch of random crafting because of the fact that we need a lot of storage buses and export buses and things and stuff. And I had to rework this a little bit because my dumb self forgot that I needed to keep this connection running all the time, so those two arms are capable of doing whatever they need to do as they do things. That system should turn itself on and off as it needs to. So what we're doing in here, at least what we did do in between episodes, is I went ahead and made, like I said, a bunch of storage buses, hooked up everything that we needed to hook up to the system, and I did go ahead and run dense pretty much to every place that needed to be going to that kind of an area, because if I really feel like it, a lot of this create redstone thing can go away now. I I like this idea here. I think these things are very cool, and I mean I could be very much more ornery with the way this works. I mean, like I could just have this turn on and off and on and off around a specific number. I may or may not use these things much longer. It just depends. And as far as that all goes, I mean, we've got all this wireless stuff all over the place, and I've now got redstone capability for just about everywhere, so we might take these out as well. I don't know. Haven't made up my mind. There's a whole bunch of things that I still have to play with as far as all those go. I did have to reconfigure this process, and there's a reason why I had to reconfigure this process, and we're going to talk about it because, you know, there are there are things that certain pack makers like to do to provide pain. And the thing about Create is that Create is not really a push a button craft a specific auto crafting thing type of system. It's more of a we'll craft until we have X amount of stock and then shut something off. And that's perfectly fine. That's an absolutely valuable way of crafting things, especially if you're going to be playing with something, that is going to be required to be made continuously over and over and over and over and over again. Anyway, but it gets kind of painful when you have something like this where you're either used to having a crafting system craft things up specifically for you, or you set up a little thing where you can just drop some parts into a box. They're pulled out, shoved into a bunch of machines, and processed and then put back into said box or back into the system. Unfortunately, we don't get some things in this particular pack. One of which is the ME pattern provider and the blank patterns. So we can't set up any kind of specified auto crafting. Period. Which means Applied Energistics in this pack is a logistics system. Now, we've used Applied Energistics many, many times for a logistics system, and I've gotten to the point with my recent Minecraft gameplay, last 3 or 4 years of me playing modded, I've started to do I shouldn't say on demand, but just stuff that is sitting in boxes, trying to keep a supply of certain things laying around all of the time instead of just pushing a button, telling it to craft a bunch of stuff and waiting on it. So it's the reason why I've done what I've done here with this little thing. And this was just me being cute. I could have probably made this a lot smaller, or should say cute, silly. So essentially what happens here now is that since we don't have the ability to say I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff in a box and I want you to craft a bunch of things, what I want to do then is I want to kind of pay attention to a specific inventory and craft on demand, or craft as this thing sees the need to craft things, so that we'll always keep a certain amount of material or processors or whatever in an inventory. And I'm monitoring on this well, I don't necessarily have to do it here. We could be doing it in the main room over there where we have all of our storage drives, which we can go take a look at in a second. But what I'm doing in here, given the fact that this had to be so stinking fancy, is we had to subnet it off of one of the main networks. So I'm going to be using a lot of subnetting. I'm going to be using a lot of, well, I don't know how much P2P we're going to be using, given the fact that now that I have all of the ability to make lots and lots and lots of dense cable, we'll just be using dense cable. If we need to subnet, or I should say P2P, we can P2P over this stuff. It's not that hard. You just have to kind of fiddle around with it to make it work. If I need to, we will. We'll probably do it for power because we'll have some kind of thing going on over there. But just as a kind of an idea as to how this works, essentially what we're doing is we're going to be using level emitters to check an inventory for a specific amount of stuff. That level emitter is then telling a export bus it is okay to push things into an inscriber. So in this case, we're regulating the first step, which taking these Certus quartz and turning it into printed whatever the heck it is, printed this one right here, whatever this calculation parts. I'm also making sure that this inscriber cannot run any faster than this inscriber, and this one has a couple of acceleration cards in it. The reasoning why is because we don't have an awful lot of diamonds, and for that matter, I don't have tons and tons of gold either, so I don't really want to accidentally overrun the system before I run things out. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. I can do without these stockpile switches, but I just wanted to kind of see how and well this would work. A stockpile switch can check an inscriber, and what it'll do is, well, here, let's see, is this the one I was going to look at in here? Yes, inscriber logic. Notice where it's sitting right here. It's already moved past. Let's grab that. That should change, so then we'll see that it threw a gold ingot into the system. It's going to move over into the center one and go. Now, if we watch in here, it's got 2 of the 3 things in it. Once it gets pulled out, puts back up, shoves another one in, and it stops. Essentially what it's doing is it's locking this export bus out so that it can't put another one in another ingot in while this is sitting right here. So it's locked out, then it can put a new one in. Is that necessary? Not really, but it's just me goofing around. We could definitely get rid of these. It is what it is on that point. But as you could hear, you also heard over here, it's making new stuff as it did that. So subnetting in here, what we're doing with this is a special subnet. This is one of the ones where I'm taking a particular structure, a function, and trying to consolidate as many of the channels behind a single subnet as I can. So this has something like 12 or 13 or what is it? 15 channels total. Now, when you subnet something, that's your main goal for subnetting, is to try to get rid of a pile of channels so that you don't have to make another line of cable running somewhere, run another P2P channel. So essentially what you do is you have a controller sitting on the thing that you're going to be controlling, and then we have kind of inverse back-to-back interfaces and storage buses. If you notice, there's an interface on top here and a storage bus on the bottom, storage bus on top, interface on the bottom here. And what that's doing is it's basically saying here for this particular one, I'm offering up specific stuff to this particular processing job thing, whatever it's doing. So I've got to set up the silicon because we haven't done that yet. It's probably going to have to happen like right, didn't want to do that, right here maybe, or it might have to happen in this mess. So what happens here is I'm offering this stuff up. I'm keeping it in stock in this particular interface, and then this storage bus is only allowed to see those items, and I'm going to have to make sure that I get a silicon in here so that I don't forget that, so that we'll be able to make that kind of stuff when it happens. What that allows us to do is that storage bus right there is serving all 5 or 7 or 8 or whichever of these export buses. So once this little redstone torch turns off, it allows this to pull something out of this interface right here via that storage bus. And it'll just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until we get done doing what we need to do or we run out of stuff. On this side, I'm going to essentially, and you know what you would normally do here is you would say I'm going to offer this, right? So in here, I can theoretically use this as the interface to control what these level emitters see, but I'm going to work off of a static storage right here. Theoretically, what I could do is I could just export that stuff back into the system because this can see the rest of the world. what we're doing again is I'm telling the rest of the world out here, the rest of the AE system, the only thing this can see is those 3 processors right there, and they're being offered by this ME interface, which can see this particular barrel. So if I want to pull, well, I guess I can go over here. If I want to pull a processor out of here, I can grab a stack of processors and do whatever I need to do with them. So that means that that's always going to be right here. There are, like I said, I could theoretically keep, well, like I could do this, I think, and this should still work if I put this in here, except that the problem is it's going to continuously craft until this particular interface has what I want in it. So if I do that, it'll put them back in there, it'll turn the light back on. So that's why we're using this. Unfortunately, we're going to probably have to do this a lot because of the fact that we were not given certain auto crafting capabilities, like I stated. Or if I haven't, we're going to talk about it. We're not capable of making patterns. This is one of those times when I go, ouch, everything hurts. We can't make pattern providers. We can't make patterns. So that's kind of a pain. And the reason why it's going to say it's kind of a pain is because certain things along the line over here that I was kind of anticipating to be able to possibly make happen, i.e. automating this, is not going to happen. I have to figure out how I want to do things now, to the point that I may be taking this whole section out and, well, this is where I was saying I'm kind of concerned now, because we're not going to be able to, you know, even automate the simplest of things without having to automate the most basic of parts. Like, you know, the tanks that we're playing around with, they require barrels and, yeah, barrels and copper sheeting, which means in order to process that whole thing, I have to deliver wood logs or cut up wood into the system and copper plates into the system just so I can feed certain things back. So I ran a line of cable over here. I don't know if I'm going to use it at this point because of the fact that it's going to get, I mean, like certain things we could theoretically supply, like, well, like this line over here. I could easily make this, the sturdy sheets go. I think sturdy sheets just need to be a little bit of powdered obsidian that has had, yeah, powdered obsidian that has lava and 2 smacks on it 4 or 5 times. So theoretically, if I wanted to keep that in stock, what I could do is I could just put an interface right here supplying, I could just put an interface right here supplying the powdered obsidian, if I can get over here, this, and then shut things off once it has enough. And in here, we'd have to, whatever it takes to make those things, so I think that silver would have to be supplied continuously somewhere right over here. I mean, I don't even know if this thing, I mean, I guess I can, do I have an interface? Let's see. I want to see something here. It's gonna be, it's doable. It just depends. I was looking forward to getting rid of a lot of this stuff, but I'm kind of wondering now at this point how much of this is going to go away and how much of it is just going to become. I was thinking this was going to be all the surface area I was going to need for the factory. Probably not. Interface. Do I have one? I've got a couple just like this. Can you? No. Do I have a funnel? Can I put a funnel on the side of you? You should be able to do this. Okay, and then if I put... Oh, dang it. Give me that back. And we put, say, a shaft. So I should theoretically be able to supply the thing. It should be able to drop it out. We should then be able to put it onto a depot or whatever and be able to do things. But again, it's gonna be a little bit of fun making things happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess our next major problem then, now looking at this whole deal, is starting into this mess. So I think what we ought to do with the rest of the episode, at least what I'm doing with the episode, I'm sitting here kind of, I just came to this realization. I was busy just doing all of this work, and then I came to the realization I'm not going to have any auto crafting, period, unless it's going to be like that, which is fine. That's okay. But again, it's going to be crafting and keeping a stock of things, not on-demand crafting something from here, unless I go ahead and enable a bunch of stuff that they took out, which is fine. Again, I've used Applied Energistics to do lots of different types of things. It's actually probably, you know, at this point in time, very much worth us to go ahead and just rip all these belts out that we've got all over the place because they're slow. That may be one of the first things I will be doing, actually, so that I'll be able to get rid of all this random extra crap that's floating around all over the place. Belts are fine, but I think they cause an FPS drag pretty badly, and that may be something that I'll go ahead and get to work on in between episodes, is removing all of these belts and putting in export. But that would also allow me to like get rid of this random crap, and we can rebuild a lot of these little processes to be a little bit nicer looking and a little bit less redstone laggy and a whole bunch of things like that. So I could theoretically rebuild all that kind of stuff, and I might, just because I do love create belts, but again, I like the logistics that is instant transfer, and this stuff is instant transfer in between, you know, point A to point B, and that's why I love playing with, you know, Applied Energistics, because even refined storage is slower than Applied Energistics. So, and that it doesn't matter. I mean, bone stock Applied Energistics is faster without acceleration cards. So, yeah. Anyhow, I guess what we need to look at now that I have the ability to do, you know, this kind of stuff, now that we've got this pretty much where I want it to be, and again, I went ahead and made a bunch of 4K things and stuffed a bunch of 4K storages in there. I'm going to only use storage buses out here in this area. We're not going to be using a massive miscellaneous storage, just because it's going to be just as easy to make the 4Ks, whatnot, just because the, you know, 4K storages, 16K storages, something like that. It just depends on how we want to do it. The only place I'm going to be storing little random things is going to be stuff like this, and for that matter, theoretically, I could use an ME chest right here with a 4K in it or a 1K, and it would be just fine. But we'll use this for right now. Anyhow, our major problem, I guess, is moving forward with Piglin peculiarities in here in Chapter 4. And that is going to be making new tier of circuit. This time it will be needed a lot, like a lot. I am a little concerned, and it's going to get us some budding amethyst. Excellent. Excellent. That's amazing. Part of the fun of doing automated shimmer is being able to mine the amethyst crystals in a reasonable pace. So that's an excellent thing. Advanced circuits are taking a normal incomplete electronic circuit here, which is a regular integrated circuit, and then mashing it 64 times with an electrified pin until it becomes an incomplete circuit. And then this is what I mean. So every one of these things, you're going to have to figure out a way to do, you know, like, so, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Anyhow, the reason why I'm worried about that is because right behind that thing is going to be power production. And in between episodes, again, I did a little bit of, well, a little bit of power. These are running at 256, making 15 FE a tick, and using a lot of power. If I put it on 120 or 64 for that matter, we'll go over here and look. That's a lot of power. Now, I'm not really worried about it, but again, we may have to see how things go. This really eats power. And I feel like this has been turned up, and that's perfectly fine for power usage. I like it when people do that for, you know, this shouldn't be easy, it shouldn't be free kind of a deal. This should be a massive step up for logistics, and that's exactly what we're going to be looking at doing with it. So, yeah, we need to sit down and, I guess right here, start working on the next level of circuits. So, I guess we get parts together and we build some stuff. So give me a second. All right, this ain't gonna be too terribly hard to do. Let's run in here and get all of the parts that we were waiting on. Hopefully that didn't take too long. The pain of certain things. We're gonna have to do a lot of work, I think. We're gonna have a little bit of fun figuring some of this stuff out. But like, this is one of those deals where I know you probably want me to make a lot of them, but at the same point, I'll probably just do like we did down here and set up something like this, right? And then just craft a stack or two of everything and then only use it again when we need to. So the first problem we're going to have to look at here is this is going to require us to do a large amount of stamping. So I'm not going to cycle this one. What I'm going to do is we're actually going to do this one on a deploy, or I should say on a depot. So it's going to start on a depot and then sit there and bang on that thing until a brass funnel states that it's good, and then we can go from there. So the first thing it's going to do is that. And I should have a whole bunch of stuff sitting here. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a lot of gold. Wow, it's a lot of gold for one little bitty thing. Okay. Anyhow, let's see. We can do the usual, I think, with this whole deal, because that will allow me to say we can place a. Where's your toolbox? Toolbox that is important to us. That toolbox is the one that has the belts in it and the axles and the things. I don't think I'm gonna. Hopefully, I don't need any more gearboxes. We'll see. And I want that one just in case, because it has a couple of other little things like filters in it. But again, this isn't a very hard process. It's just going to take a long time, I think. I mean, maybe it won't. I don't know. Let's move it back a little bit, and then we'll go here and do a mechanical belt and just have it extend itself where it needs to go. And then we're going to need to do a deployer. A mechanical press. Why don't you turn that this direction? Can I roll it like that? Nope. Give me it back. Deployer, 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 deployer. Where'd you go? Deployer down so that those two can run off of the same power. And then, yeah, I guess you're just going to do like a block up with a depot and a brass funnel and a filter with, take all that out, we don't need those, an incomplete electronic circuit. I hope that doesn't change halfway through the process, because if it does, that's going to be painful. Whoops, no. Up there. Gimme. Up there. Okay. And then get a couple of more parts. I should have grabbed an arm. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing so that it'll deliver it back to the front nicely for us. So arm, we should have one laying around or two. Thank you. Well, give me that barrel. I want that real quick too. Thank you very much. And yeah, so then all I'm going to do here is some building blocks. I don't know what I did with all of them. Doesn't really matter. Give me that back for right now. I need to build a... Can I put this like right? No. There. And a funnel. That'll go that direction. That down, put this right here. Give me that. Put this right here. And then all I'm going to do here is this. I guess I don't need to do this. We just need andesite funnels at that point. Let's do the cheap ones. We have lots of cheap stuff. So you there, you down, nope, other way, down, and then we'll do a something similar here. So I guess I'll just put a end chest like right there, maybe even further out. And then you can just grab, I need a funnel, just do it like that. Let's not do it on top, do it on the back. There. Pause it. And then wire it. Yeah, and then we'll wire it. 1 second. Alrighty, then a belt, I suppose. So then you can have these. These integrated circuits will get dropped onto that. And I didn't want to do it like that. Gimme. I need to set this. Gotta work. 1. Leave 1. Okay. Not that it'll matter. It'll just work on 1 until it's done. And then we grab this from here to there. Got stuff already in the barrels. That has to sit there 64 times. I guess I need to hook power up again, too. Hang on 1 second. We're not done yet. So good at forgetting things. Should be the right direction, actually. Perfect. Go. Then this is supposed to get some Ostrom plate somewhere. Hey, we already got a couple of them done. Nice. So you are not doing your job. Why are you not doing your job? Pick up here. Place. Thank you. Alright. Nice. We now have advanced integrated circuits. I'm going to let that finish up so that we can finish this little thing, get this done, and then we'll have to start looking at steel and a whole bunch of this other fun stuff later on. We're going to see how this works. I'm again, a little concerned as to how some of this stuff that we're going to need a lot of, I'm going to just probably... my biggest problem, I think, right now is we've kind of worked ourselves into a corner over here because of this. If I want to be able to... Well, I mean, there are many ways of doing what I need to do. There's lots and lots and lots of ways of doing what I need to do here, and I know how to do it. I'm just going to have to do it the way that I don't want to do it, which means I'm going to have to keep a stock of certain things in, stock all the time if I don't want to keep running back and forth all the time. So, let's see. There is our 4. Ding, ding. What are we locked out of? Oh, dang it. Can I have that? Shoot. Give me those. Give me that. Oh, well, that's nice. You give me 128 golden pins that we can then go immediately do what we need to do. Come on. 64 takes so long. It's ridiculous. Gimme. Nice. That on there. You can have your plate back. Cool. Nice. Give me those. Thank you. Give me that. Thank you. And then that'll crank us up into a whole bunch of fun stuff that will allow us to do some things. I'm interested in this corner over here because this will start getting us into the ability to craft fuel, and fuel will allow us to make the next rocket. Fuel will also allow us to be able to superheat blaze burners, and it will allow us to get a lot more power. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to toss this into this little system and let it process all those pins into, well, new things, and we can go on from there. I think for now, though, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call that right there. I'm going to have to do some serious thinking about what I want to do with these, because, well, these are going to come in handy later on, and I don't know as whether or not we can pick them up or not, so we'll see how it goes. But until then, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.